Welcome and thank you for tuning in, and welcome back to those that are brand new to Specialty Chef Marty Unfolded. I'm your host, Marty, and I just want to welcome everyone that's brand new to the podcast. Welcome, and thank you again for supporting me and just giving me just a little bit of your time to listen to what I have uncovered, and I hope that is interesting to you. This is my 4th episode, and I'm going to tell you now, right now, those that are listening now, I have just booked my first guest. I have that recorded. I am just ecstatic about it, and it's going to be on my next episode, so look out for it. So I'm going to make a big to-do about it because it's going to be my 5th episode, which is number 5, which is a great thing. 5 episodes. It's just, it's a big deal to me because I never thought I would get to 5, but I'm glad I did get to 5. So let me know, and please comment me, and please give me see how you like it, okay? But today's episode is going to be all about we use it, we sometimes hide it, we say it's a secret, we always say we can't tell you, and you probably know what I'm talking about, is recipes. Now, I know a recipe is a roadmap to a ending product. So I know it's a beginning and an end and a middle, and it tells you what measurements that you need to make the whatever you're making. Also, it has a description on directions on how to make it and the process and how many minutes does it take, if it's going to be in the oven or do you need to refrigerate it or something like that. So recipes are something that is always been around, and we always had our grandmother come around, and she used to write down her recipes that she probably got when she was growing up from her aunties or relative or something like that, and she just passed it down to generation after generation after generation, and you could tell when that person actually knows that recipe backwards and forwards and go ahead and just put that recipe out there and let everyone enjoy it, and everyone's saying, man, he or she makes this every time perfect. Every time it's perfect. But they have the recipe down, and they have the recipe probably stashed away in their memory and also stashed away in like a folder or wherever they're going to keep it. So the reason why I'm making a big to-do about recipes is because recipes, now get mind, I'll go, this is just mind-blowing right here. Recipes have history as well. If you didn't know, if you do know, believe me, I'm glad that you do. And, please share it with others. That's why I'm here, to give you everything I could possibly give you about what I researched on the topic that I'm talking about. So I didn't even think about even researching about recipes because I thought it was just something that was passed down from grandma, uncles, mostly grandma, and grandma didn't say anything, and then grandma helped out with the next generation, and they put their little twist on it, because recipes can be changed, recipes can be always upgraded, recipes can be flipped on its side, backwards, forwards, inside out, through. Recipes can do anything. That's what I love about recipes, because we have all of these great spices and and juices, and I mean fruits, vegetables, whatever have you. We have it all at our disposal to be creative. That's why I always say, always get in the kitchen and create, because you don't have to create anything, or you, no, I mean, just rewind that. You don't have to really create what another person has already done. That is something that is a beginning of your experience on whatever you're trying to make. But when you go to make a whatever you're gonna make, what I would want you to do is go ahead and make that first dish on the recipe that you found, or the recipe that you researched, or something like that, to give you a base on how you would create the dish the same way but better, or just create it a whole different way but make it what it's supposed to be. So if it's like, for instance, if you make banana pudding and you just have pudding that tastes like banana, that ain't banana pudding, because there's no banana in it. That's what I mean. You got to watch the recipe, and if you say what it is, it has to taste what it is. So that's what I'm talking about, recipes, and that's the reason why I took a little bit of my own synopsis of what a recipe is, because I am a chef and I do look at a lot of recipes, because I'm a really damn good baker, because I can bake mostly anything. If you ask anybody, they say that he can bake his ass off. So, this is my show, so I'm going to say a few little spicy words here and there. So just bear with me, okay? So just want you to get used to that. So I don't say belligerent words. I just say spicy words, okay? Something that, the age 14 would have a little bit of problem with, but not something that, whoa, I blew his head out, or he or she blew his head out the water. But anyhow, let me go ahead and get into this the research that I found about this amazing thing called a recipe that we use, that we hide, and we also just think that we do kind of say, how did they make this? And then when someone tells you, hey, well, I made it, if you go over here, or if you got a pen and paper, I can write it down for you. Or because there's some people that like to go ahead, and if it's a simple recipe that it just takes maybe 4 or 5 ingredients, they probably won't mind giving it to you. But if it's something that has to do with a certain spice or extract or something like that, then they'll probably be a little bit more tight-lipped about giving you about that recipe, okay? But did you know the earliest written recipe was dated back in 1730 BC, and it was recorded by the Mesopotamians. Couldn't believe it. I can't even say the word, Mesopotamia. Mesopotamia is the first finding, or area that we found the first written recipe, which is incredible. I couldn't believe it dated back that far. And the earliest, then that was the earliest known written recipe. And the earliest written recipe actually was in 16 BC. So it was even further. It was even written further back. I mean, even earlier then. And it was in Babylonia, southern Babylonia. And here we are, again, the Egyptians had something to do with this as well. The Egyptians must have been a really powerful nation of people because they had their hand in mostly everything in our ancient history that they had their hand in some type of way, which is incredible to even hear and see something like that. That you have archaeologists that have the gumption to actually go and dig in the dirt and research these kind of things, so we can bring you this information. So that is a very good thing. So now, when you were in the kitchen, so maybe you stumbled in the kitchen, and say your grandmother. I'm talking about, back when grandma was young and stuff like that. Grandma was in her 50s and late early 60s or something like that. Grandma material, and she used to break out this little tin box with these little written scribes on it and stuff like that. I can remember my mom's mom had a scribe of recipes that she used to have for herself. So, and I even have my own tin box and have my own recipes, and I got them detailed out. And even my wife, she was asking me today. She said, "Did you ever think about writing your own cookbook?" And I said, "I don't know. I need some help with it because this is the first thing that I'm doing. So I will think about it. But if I do write that cookbook, you'll be the first to know, and I'd be glad to bring that information to you." But back to my grandmother, she made this. I want to say a sheet, a cookie sheet. I want to say like a decent sized cookie sheet, 19 by 30. 9 by 13, or something a little bit bigger than that, And she used to make this small little apple pie squares. These apple pie squares were so good that you would be popping 2 or 3 of them in your mouth, because I was young then, because I had room to burn. But those apple pie squares used to be the craziest apple pie that I ever had in my life. I just was like, oh my God, my grandmother hit a home run. And then all of a sudden, when she was getting up in her age, and then when I started getting into cooking and all that, I was asking for those recipes, and everyone got tight-lipped. But that's understandable too, because I do have aunts, and that's their mother. So I would love them to have what she has created and passed down. So whoever has it, whatever aunt has it, please, if you want to, please share it with me, because I would love to have it myself to try it. Because old school recipes that was generated by generations, those are the recipes that bring peace, that bring familiar, that brings history, that brings camaraderie, that when you look at your siblings or whoever you ate that first pastry or dessert or meal or entree or whatever you want, that it just brings back memories. And I think what really brings back memories is desserts and stuff like that, because it's something that you go out and you have it together, and you just have that bondingness of having a nice sweet treat, and just having some good fun. But those apple pie squares that she made, oh my gosh, she used to bring them to church, and believe me, I had my napkin about 4 deep and 2 in my mouth, chewing on the way out. So, so it was a good thing. She made a lot of great things, and she had this awesome recipe to make this lemonade that she had. What? after a revival, we used to have this lemonade, and it seemed like it was an ending a bucket of just lemonade that she made. It was just so, it was tart, but not too tart, but it was sweet, but not too sweet. I don't even know how to describe it, but it was one of those things that if you drink too much of it, it'd make you sick because you just drink too much, lemon. But it was refreshing, and this is when I was 12, 11, 12, something like that, maybe 10. And I can still remember that, just like I can remember those apple pie squares that she made. It was crazy, crazy, crazy. So, if your grandmother is still, living and she's just doing amazing things in the kitchen, the next time you see her, give her a big old kiss on the cheek and give her a hug and say, I appreciate you. Please teach me what you know so I can pass it on to my kids, so I can keep this amazing thing going for this family, because that's what it's all about. It's passing down things that makes your family stronger, positive things that makes your family stronger, which is always about food. Food is a positive thing that everyone can enjoy. So let me go ahead and just give you a little bit more history. The Egyptians were an amazing, amazing race, because they had recipes actually scribed on the walls in Egyptian tombs over in Sennac, over in the 19th century BC, and they taught people how to make flatbread, which is something that I talked about making bread, and I talked about things about I have a podcast on just bread alone, and I do have videos of Specialty Chef Cooking with Marty. I have videos on how to make certain breads and stuff like that, which is if you want to check them out, that's great. But sometimes it's history kind of revolves and makes me say, hey, I just told my listeners about flatbread a couple episodes back, which is incredible. So the Egyptians had their hand in that as well. And also, and this is all you Budweiser and Miller Lite and Coke 45 and Stretch Malt Liquor and Tall Boys and Ponies and Red Stripe and whatever beer that you love and stuff like that. Because I do have a partner that did interview on my first episode, on my first guest episode. He's a beer connoisseur. He loves beer. He loves different types of beer. He doesn't get drunk on beer. He just loves the experience and the recipe. See, beer has a recipe too. Yeah, he loves the hobbiness and stuff like that of beer, and you'll hear all about that. But the Egyptians had their hand in that as well, and that dated back as old as the 14th century as well. So beer's been around for a while, and I bet you that beer was very, very undistilled, and it was just raw gut. It just, boy, I can imagine that beer was strong. I can only drink myself maybe 3 beers, and I'm like, I'm good, and I probably have like a Jameson, like 2 shots of Jameson and a couple beers, and I'm pretty much drinking water the rest of the night, because I don't like that feeling of that feeling that alcohol gives you. So I usually just do it as a leisure, relaxing, fellowship type thing, whatever atmosphere it is and whatever it calls for that merits that. So drink responsibly, but enjoy eating your favorite meal with a beer or a spirit that you like. All right. Now, things about recipes are things that help you make a really decent meal and makes you have a more creative mind on making the meal a lot better, making the meal that this is missing, that's missing. You know, mostly great meals lack salt, or it's too salty, or something like that. But the oldest, what are the oldest recipes? And I'm reading this because some of the information I do have to read, but I did go ahead and give you some nice good tidbits on some of the early ages. But I'm gonna speed it up here like I always do and go through history. Okay. Now there's the 7 oldest recipes in history is beer one, and that was 3400 to 2900 BC. All right. Chinese photos. Garrett's. It's like they made a newspaper. Okay, for the Garrett Image News. That's I'm sorry, the Getty Image News. I do apologize. On second is needy pudding. Needy pudding. I'm gonna have to look that up. I think I know what that is, but I'm not gonna try to dip in and try to guess what that is. But it's called netto pudding. Netto pudding. All right, and that was developed in 6000 BC. Wow, these things are really back there. All right. Now, coming in third is meat pie, 1700 BC. Number 4 is roast boar, and that came around in the 4th and 5th century. I can see how that can happen because, you know, you had the abundance of whatever you really wanted to eat, or whatever you wanted to hunt, or whatever you were skilled to hunt to feed your family, because they killed and butchered what they needed to survive certain times of the year, which is understandable, that was a human thing to do. So that's something that's very, very interesting as well. Number 5 coming in is hangover. Okay. Hangover cure stew. Hangover cure, CURE cure stew. I hope I'm saying that right. I'm gonna take a sip of water here. Cure. All right. Let's see. Hangover cure stew. It was created in 900 AD. So it's getting kind of closer now. So we are coming through through history here. All right. And coming in number 6 is fermenti, and that was developed in 1381. And now coming in number 7 as one of the oldest recipes is called Linzer tort. A Linzer tort. So that's probably like a little pastry or something like that was made back in 1653. So it's crazy how recipes just come along the years, and that's what that I was talking about, and that's what I was kind of reiterating on why we should always be grateful for what we have and not take certain things for granted, you know, especially things that came through history that we have today, that we should go ahead and appreciate and protect it as a people. Okay. Now, we're coming into. I'm gonna go ahead and come into America because that's where we are, and I'm not being prejudiced towards anything about other countries or anything like that. But um, a lot of Americans, they understand a lot of things about cooking, and and they got over the last 20 years with cooking. Now cooking just from came from public TV, if you want to say, because I remember seeing cooking shows on public TV because I'm from Youngstown, Ohio, and we only had like 5 or 6 channels or something like that. And one of them was channel 45, 49, and it was public TV. And it was a Chinese or a Korean lady that was doing her Chinese or Oriental cuisine on that channel. It was a gentleman with red suspenders that was he was straight Louisiana bred. He was funny as heck, but he used to always say, "I guarantee, I guarantee." Every time he would make finish his meal and sit down, man, he made it sound like, man, let me pull up a chair, give me a plate, give me, and just please just let me enjoy what you have made, and let me give you your accolades on a great meal. So he would just get blown away, and just it was just makes you your salivary glands just well up, because it's like, man, that must taste so good. But it was just cooking came around so rapidly. You know, cooking was something like something that you did on the side. Like like how cooking was like golf. When you ask somebody back in, you know, when golf was not popular until Tiger Woods came around with it and stuff like that. You know, golf was not played. It was more like basketball and football and other sports like that. But cooking came around so quickly that sometimes we need to go back in history and see why we have the things we have, and and teach others on our findings so they can appreciate it and pass it along and stuff like that. Because I noticed that when you teach someone how to protect something, how to appreciate something, and give it value, they protect it, and they're more of receptive to keep it safe and secure because you created value on it. So that is a great thing, and that's why I think that's why recipes have came down through the years, because they created value by feeding mass people throughout history, and that's incredible. So this is what another thing too that I just researched about recipes in the late 19th century. That's when the American Cookbook came out, and it was in full detail. It was a decent sized book, and I did see in one of my researches as well that there was a cookbook that was like 576 pages of recipes in this one cookbook. Was mind blowing. I should have pulled that research as well so I can give you a little bit more detailed information on that. But could you imagine getting a cookbook that has 579 recipes? I would love to see that, because I would love to see, how it was scribed, and what did they use, and the words, and the the terminology of certain words and stuff like that. Because a smidget or a splash or something like that, what grandma used to say and stuff like that. She would never tell you a teaspoon or a half a teaspoon or a quarter teaspoon or something like that. she would guess the whole way through. And because she's got the measurements calculated in her head, so she can actually calculate everything in her hand and put the same ingredients and make the product 2 to 3 times, and they all will taste the same because she has memorized the recipe and she perfected the recipe over memorization. So, and I take my hat off to all that have great recipes that they store away, and they have great recipes that stored away in their memory that they have. And if you do have, please share. And I want to always appreciate those that are out there and trying to make great food for people that to come to their restaurants or their eateries or their bakeries or whatever have you, to come and enjoy a good meal that they created through recipes that was passed down that they would like to have, like to feed the masses. Because there are people, when they own a restaurant, stuff like that, they are giving people, they want to feed you. That's all they want to do, and have a good time, because that's what they love to do as well. And I never been to a restaurant that everybody's mad. Get in your chair. What do you want? Here's a menu. Give you a dirty glass of water, a chip plate, or, just bad service. You never see that. You may have those that have bad days, and everyone has their bad days. But I love to support everyone that's out there, especially going through this pandemic, how the food industry and restaurants and the hospitality industry really suffered. So it's me being specialty chef Marty, and I am a chef, and I'm not a certified chef, but I think that from what I'm hearing, there's a lot of certified chefs out there that just said, if I'd known what I know now, I wouldn't have went to culinary school, because I learned more doing outside of culinary school than what I did when I was in culinary school. I hear a lot of chefs, and I hear a lot of chefs say that, but sometimes if you really want to know, it's probably, one of those things that you can say that once you have that certificate and say, hey, I learned more about this and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. Because you have the certificate to fall back on. Now, if you don't have a certificate, you can't fall back on that, because now it's to a point that you got to have some type of a certificate or validation or something like that to serve food to people, and it actually cooking. You have to go through a lot of things to. You're not just gonna go back there and start cooking food, because you're gonna have to go through the manager to hire you in the restaurant, and you have to go through not even the manager of the restaurant or the owner of the restaurant. You have to go through the chef, and you have to prepare certain meals for him to see how you cook, see how you work, see how you're organized, stuff like that. That is a whole different industry. But even they have a certain way of making their food and presenting the food to the customer. If you look at Hell's Kitchen, Chef Ramsay is not going to serve any food that's raw, undercooked, overdone. It's got to be perfect every single time. He knows exactly how that is plated, which is in awe. And the gentleman is phenomenal. He's a phenomenal chef. I take my hat off to Chef Ramsay all the time, because he does amazing things. So now I just talked about a little bit about recipes. Just wanted to go ahead and just give you some knowledge on where recipes came from, why they're there, why they're here, why we protect them, why we put them for secret, why grandma always say, child, you don't know what you have until it's gone. So if you ever run out of your house and you're trying to save those valuable things, put the grandma's recipes on that list and save those as well, because if you have fire outside or inside, you can still make something incredible, even if the ingredients that you don't have, and you just have salt and pepper. At least you know how to make something with those recipes. You'll be amazed on what could be around you and what you can have to make amazing things. So it's going to be an awesome time being with you today. I've been having a blast bringing you what I researched, and I am very, very, very grateful that you bring me into your life to hear what I have to say. And I think that this was an awesome topic, and just wanted to touch base and just have a little bit of conversation about what a recipe is and why it's valuable and why it exists. Okay, but this is Specialty Chef Marty Unfolded with your host Marty, and I want to just plug in again. I am going to be putting out my 5th episode, number five. It's going to be with a special guest. He's a really big foodie. He's a hip hop and historian. He's a drone enthusiast. This guy is awesome. He brings great energy. You guys gonna love him. So I'll go ahead and I'm not gonna drop his name yet, but you will know about it. But I'm gonna go ahead and make a big deal about this, because number 5 was one of my milestones. I did hit it, so I'm going to go ahead and make a big deal about it. Number 20 is my next milestone, so I'm going to make a big deal about that as well. So as I progress a little bit further through this podcast, I'm going to go ahead and do some amazing things as I progress. So I hope you guys stick with me and support me, and just drop me an email. You can always comment, like. I would love your comments to make this podcast a little bit better. But I'm excited about my new guest, and I'll see you guys on the next episode. And you guys, every time I will say this, and I'm going to not even say every time ever again, but if you know anyone that has an awesome recipe that you love, they make it so well, if they don't want to give you the recipe, ask them nicely and then go and do some research on it, so you can get the recipe and do it yourself and probably flip it on the side or something like that. But anything, support that person and just be in awe that they can make something that is incredible, that you can actually enjoy. All right. But it's been a pleasure. And I want to just go ahead and leave you with something here. Should have had this ready. But I also always want to leave a quote of something that's positive that you can actually take with you and let it go ahead and resonate in your life. and just something that I'm gonna just put into my podcast because I think it's gonna be a great thing to do. So this is from Mark Twain. Okay, he says, "Humor is mankind's biggest blessing." So, what I'm saying, I think what he's saying is that you don't have to be funny. You just gotta be amusing and be a person that that love to be around. Because when you're welcoming, people tend to gravitate to you, and that it just makes them that much more uh, passionate to be around you. So just have some humor. Don't be a stick in the mud. Laugh a little bit. Have some joy, because let nobody steal your joy, and have a good time because you only have one life, and just live it to the fullest until the wheels fall off. All right. Specialty Chef Marty again. I'll see you guys on the next episode. You guys have a good time. You guys be blessed. Talk to you soon. Peace.